My name's Dalton, and I did the program in 2021. In high school, I was a rebel. I considered dropping out of high school. I definitely didn't want to go to college. And every single friend that I had was going to college. I did actually try a couple college classes, and it further cemented my lack of desire to go to college because I already knew all the material in the classes. A few years later, I heard about it from my mom's friend who watches Fox News and said, I know Dalton's not going to college, and so I'm gonna recommend that he checks this out because this seems way more up his alley. I knew that it would help me work in the startup space and in business in particular. And what ended up happening when I didn't go through Praxis is I worked and did like some sales, and I did a small business. And when COVID killed that small business, I was like, well, what's the next step? How could I work with a startup? And I looked again at Praxis and I was like, well, I already know that this is like the mindset that I want to have. And I know I want to work with startups. I know I want to get better at business. So it just still seemed like a perfect fit years later. I networked my way into employee number one at a pre-seed startup. And I actually got that while I was doing Praxis. And I think it was largely due to the increased confidence I had because of Praxis to really take my networking and everything to the next level. So even just that couple of months was like kind of just the small bump that I needed to just kind of go and just get started. I then got hired at a seed stage startup, so a little bit bigger, like 12 people. I was lucky enough to kind of do a bit of everything at that startup for a few years until it got acquired. And after that, I was able to kind of land my dream job doing now partnerships at a tech company called Roller. And what partnerships is, at least the way I like to describe it, is the most fun parts of sales, building relationships with people and finding a way to help other businesses win. And in turn, those businesses help you win. And so I was able to get some initial experience with that with some of those earlier jobs. And now I just do that. Praxis was able to give me that direction and that confidence that I needed to kind of dive headfirst into those next steps for my career and to just keep building on what I had been building, and to give me the framework that I needed to make the most of those opportunities. Everyone says, oh, go to college, go network. That's what is really one of the main value points of college. But if the people you're meeting in college don't actually have anything to do with what you represent or what you care about, then what's the point of networking with them, right? Whereas at Praxis, it's like, if you're ambitious, if you want to be intentional about how you live your life, if you want to get a really cool job, start a really cool business, do really cool projects, then that's Praxis is the place you want to be, but it is remote. And so you have to bring people together, and that's what I've done, is really build these relationships with people that, I honestly probably wouldn't have been able to necessarily build just in my city per se. Like I could have, but it would have been much harder than having the community that Praxis is and the people that are in it. My advice is to take a step back and think about what gets you excited, because I have been reading a lot of content from like venture capitalists and startup founders that the most valuable thing they did was they just started building stuff. And you can just easily go back and reference the story of Google or the story of Facebook. Very well-known stories about how they just started building something that they thought the world needed or that their friends needed even. And that's something that wasn't there and they just went and did it. And that's not necessarily something that you're gonna just do in college. Praxis is a great way to explore those kinds of interests, but you have to be intentional about like what it is that you enjoy And if you think you enjoy something, you have to be intentional about doing that thing and trying it out and then thinking, okay, well, what did I like, what did I not like about that? I think that's where the disconnect is for a lot of younger people that are feeling a little bit lost, is they never really gave themselves that opportunity to like go do the thing that sounds really fun to them. They just kind of shut it off because they think, I have to follow some structure that my parents gave me. If I was doing that right now, I'd be extremely unhappy. I really don't think I would have enjoyed the standard path that all my friends follow, you know? So my advice is really just follow your passion, and don't let anyone else tell you otherwise.